just wanted to give you my views on what happened in Minnesota today. You know, this is a very sad day in American history. What should have been a great day. It's the 250th anniversary of our U.S. Army. It's President Donald Trump's birthday as well. But today, instead of us celebrating those things, we have two elected officials from Minnesota who were gunned down in their homes by a person who was angry with them because of how they voted. And these people, State Representative Melissa Hartman and Senator John Hoffman. Unfortunately, Representative Hartman and her husband both lost their lives because they voted against the Democrat status quo. They decided that they were going to vote their hearts and not allow the intimidation from the Democrat Party to stop them. Unfortunately, it turned out not to be in their best interest because Representative Hartman lost her life. She lost her life because she voted on a bill that was to ban illegal immigrants, or what they called undocumented immigrants, from receiving Medicare or MinnesotaCare benefits. Now, this vote just happened on Monday, June 9th. It just happened. And so just a few days later, then someone came to her house, pulled a gun, and shot her and her husband. The person that came in was a person who was dressed as a police officer. So maybe she trusted him and opened the door. It was Vance Luther Bolter. He was appointed by Tim Watz to a state board in 2019. It just ended in 2023. So someone came to their home because, and this is an assumption that I am making, everybody is not going to say that because, you know, they're going to say alleged, but if you see her, she was on this video just a couple of days ago, and she was talking about voting her heart, voting what she knew was right.
I know that people will be hurt by that vote, and we worked very hard to try to get a budget deal that wouldn't include that provision.
We have veterans. It takes them years to get VA disability benefits. We have people on Social Security in our country. It takes them 40 years. You have to be 62 before you qualify for Social Security benefits, just partial Social Security benefits. And then we have illegal immigrants that come into our country. The day they come in, they can apply and they can receive some benefits immediately. Because she voted against that, because the senator also voted against that, they were attacked in their homes by someone that was encouraged by the Democrat Party to attack anyone that disagreed with them. That's right. They have been encouraged. And if you will look, this is what the governor of Minnesota has been saying. This is what he put out. He says we must be diligent about this. Listen to what he said. This is unbelievable that in the United States of America in 2025, we have people that attack people because of the way they vote. And then not only did he say it, you also heard Senator Bernie Sanders and what he says. At the very end, he says, in 1776, brave Americans took on and defeated the most powerful despot in the world. In 2025, we will do the same. What is he talking about? When he says despot, what has President Trump done that no other president has ever done before? Are they talking about him deporting people? You know, the only difference in President Trump deporting, they said it hasn't even been 500,000, and we know that both President Bill Clinton and President Barack Obama both deported millions of illegal immigrants. There were no wars, there were no fights, there were no protests, there was nothing. But now all of a sudden, the Democrat Party, the violent Democrat Party, is telling people all over the country, all over the world, to be violent because Americans are deporting people who came into our country illegally. Now, President Trump did not say the United States does not have immigration. We have immigration. We have legal immigration. But for whatever reason, President Joe Biden during his administration and Kamala Harris, who was supposed to be the border czar, allowed over 20 million military-aged men to come into our country. And everyone at that time was asking the question, why are all of these people coming here? Look at this. What do you think about it? time that this was happening and everybody was questioning, I said they brought them here to attack Americans. Now, the person today that attacked the legislators from Minnesota, he was not an illegal immigrant. But I must say that the violent rhetoric that's coming out of the mouths of Democrats is something that every American should address. And you know, I am not a Democrat and I'm not a Republican. I'm really an independent. But I can say, I can promise you, there is absolutely no reason that I would encourage anyone to commit violence against a political opponent. There's absolutely no reason. And this is the thing about Democrats that is so threatening, it's so dangerous, is because they constantly encourage and incite violence. They are constantly telling their people to go out and do things to other people, but this is the way they do it. It's reverse psychology that they do. They say, look at Donald Trump. He's out here being violent. President Trump right today is at a march for our 250-year anniversary of our military. He's not said anything. He hasn't done anything. But all of these Democrats, you know what? It's because they think they're smarter than you. They think they're smarter than me. They think they're smart enough to tell people to go out and attack Donald Trump, to attack anyone that agrees with Donald Trump. But all they have to do is say, look at Donald Trump. He's been violent. Let me say this, and I want to make this perfectly clear. The Democrats are violent. They are encouraging violence.
This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right.
Why?
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
I'm sure right now there are many of them sitting there trying to plot what they can do to me for making this video. I'm very sure of that. And so when you have the governor of Minnesota just a day or two ago be on TV telling everyone to be violent, and then you have immediately the response is for someone to go and attempt to assassinate two Minnesota elected officials because they voted to stop what they call MinnesotaCare for undocumented immigrants. You know, that is unconscionable. That is something that should never happen in our country. Now, this is the challenge. The challenge is for our Department of Justice, our President Donald Trump, our Attorney General Pam Bundy, our Director of the FBI, Kash Patel. It is your challenge now to make Americans feel comfortable about voting how they want to. You know, the scary part about it is I tell people this all the time. Do you know something? Democrats never break from their party and vote on the other side. And I always said, I remember that most of the time until the last few years that you would have bipartisan support on bills all the time. It happened all the time. But now they always vote with the party. Why? Is it because they are fearful of what happened today to Minnesota Representative Melissa Hartman? Is that why they never cross the party? So anyway, everyone should be very concerned that Democrats are calling for the assassination of some of their own people. If they're calling for the assassinations of their own people, what do you think they're doing to me and to elected officials that are Republicans? What do you think they're doing? We have a criminal cabal that is running, and they're running our nation's capital, and everybody appears to be afraid of them. Everybody, and I mean everybody. And so now, The only thing I'm asking is I'm challenging President Donald Trump and our Department of Justice to bring justice for these elected officials, justice for Americans that feel like we have a right to say whatever we want to say and do whatever we want to do without fear that someone has put out a hit on us.